Hello, this is Professor Sukant Chaudhary. In this series of MN Srinivas, part 1, we have already dealt with his structure functional ideas, remembered village, structure and religion and society among cooks of South India. Okay, the part 2 will be dealing with his major concept, that is Sanskritization. All right, very commonly used concept, a very popular concept. Critical analysis has been done, doesn't matter. The first idea, though some mention was there in the earlier book on cooks, but the full length article came as a note on Sanskritization and Westernization in 1956 in the Far Eastern Weekly, a journal. But it was reprinted in the book of 1960, Caste in Modern 62, Caste in Modern India and Other Essays. That is also produced in Hindi, the translation. All right. What is the whole idea? Sanskritization. That it shows upward mobility for the lower caste. All right. And but his definition includes tribe as well. He missed the concept of Hinduization here because tribes are not Hindus, tribals. Tribals have their own religion, animism, animatism, totemism, naturism, magic, witchcraft, all these are various rituals they perform. But anyway, his definition says, very carefully observe the definition. Sanskritization is a process by which a low or middle Hindu caste and tribes or other group changes its customs, tradition, culture, cultural ideology, and ways of life. Okay, customs, ritual, ideology, and way of life in the direction of a high-end, frequent twice-born caste. That means he has included the term tribe. All right. Critical assessment. Khaka later on criticized that how a tribe can adapt to higher caste Hindu rituals unless it becomes Hinduized first. Because tribes are not Hindus. Anyway, we'll discuss that in while doing critical analysis. All right. So now, how to adapt to high caste this thing, rituals, customs, and ideology. What is that? Exposure to Sanskritic literature. A. B. The ideas and values of high caste from Sanskritic literature. C. Caste ritual idioms have to be followed. Caste ritual idioms including Upanayan. What is that? Dvij, sacred thread ceremony. What is that? Brahmins 5 to 9 years, Kshatriyas 7 to 11 years, and Vaishyas 9 to 15 years. 7 to 9 years, Brahmins, sorry. So the Upanayan has to be done. Okay. Besides, strict observance of rituals of purity and impurity. Okay. Presumably, all those kind of things of separation, isolation during menstruation, birth of a child, death ritual people follow, puberty of a girl. Okay, that such kind of observance, daily taking bath, daily worshipping, daily performing puja, accepting joint family norms. Women should not do any work in the field. These are all high caste Hindu rituals, which many people have mentioned. We are concerned about sociologists, what they have mentioned. A.M. Shah has mentioned in his Family in India book. Then Srinivas has mentioned several times. All right. Then also, vegetarianism, teetotalership, and using silk cloths, and worshipping gods and goddesses. All this. Now come to the features of Sanskritization. We'll culminate, not discuss, describe. What is that? Number one, it is a process of upward mobility. All right. Number two, it is adapting to the referent group behavior from particular group. All right. This is number two. Then number three, would be uh, it is only meant for the middle caste, because higher caste they don't need. Sudras cannot do it. Sudras means here he was referring to the untouchables or the scheduled caste. They cannot Sanskritize themselves. Okay. Number 4, it does not lead to structural change. This is important. It only leads to positional change. Because structural change means caste system is the whole structure. The whole caste system does not change. Only that particular caste would change if it is accepted its position. So it is positional change. Alright. Number 5, it is a group process. If the whole group of a village or a particular region consisting of 10-12 villages, they wish to change, then things will change. One individual wishes to change, it will not change. It is a group process and it is not an individual process. Alright. So now let's go to the second part of it. That Srinivas spoke about certain preconditions of Sanskritization. If a caste which wishes to Sanskritize itself, you understand now? Means going into the upper caste, they must accept it, and these lower castes must adapt to their ideology, custom, rituals. So certain prerequisites. What? Number 1, the caste must have control over the traditional capital of the area, villages. What is traditional capital? The caste must own landed property. It cannot be a poor caste because people will not agree to the claim. Okay. The caste must have control on the traditional capital. Number 2, the caste should have a touchable status. We already said Sudras are bad from it. They cannot have upward mobility. Untouchables cannot be. Srinivas says. Number 3, the caste must propagate a myth. The analysis shows the caste must propagate a myth or a story of claiming to be of higher status earlier. Got it? Okay. How it can be done? Through case studies. The first case study I would which all these we have gathered from books and what our teachers taught and how I've been teaching so far. The first case study is by the Jatavs of Agra by Owen M. Lynch. Okay, that is Politics of Untouchability. The book came out in 1967. All right. Another reprint came in 1980. The Politics of Untouchability. It is a fieldwork in Agra. In Agra, Jatavs were dominant population-wise. Jatavs were dominant. But what happened? During British era, by the demand for shoes went up, because earlier Indians never used shoes and sandals and bathroom slippers. They were all not in demand. British era, all formal organizations came into being, so demand for shoes went up, and the Jatavs earned a lot of money by selling of shoes. Then they claimed, and they purchased the land in the area. They claimed to be Kshatriyas. All right, and they propagated a myth. That is, Swami Atmaram wrote in Lomesh Ramayana that during Treta Yuga, Parsuram was slaying the Kshatriyas. Then the Jatavs were Kshatriyas, but to save themselves from the wrath of Parsuram, they flocked into the forest and hid themselves. They got hidden in the forest and started making shoes. But now their economic situation has improved and they have become landowners, so they want to get back their Kshatriya status. Okay, but the Kshatriyas did not agree to the claim, as they were the Jatavs were not having a touchable status. All right. So the Jatavs got little disturbed and they started a political party, Jatav Young Men Organization, and contested in Uttar Pradesh Vidhan Sabha Assembly elections in 1961-62 elections, even won a seat. And then they had also given a slogan along with the Muslims, Jatav Muslim Bhai Bhai, Hindu Qawm Nation, Hindu Qawm kahan se aaye. Lynch said that a failure in Sanskritization leads to politicization. Alright, this is case 1, failure. Case 2, the study by F.G. Bailey, who studied the cons of Odisha, alright, in the Bisipada village. He studied around 1950s, and the book came in 1957, Caste and Economic Frontier. Okay. Then in some time back in 1850s, he writes 1850s, about 50 kilometers away from Bisipada, from Bodh. He writes BODH, but it's actually in Odia BAUDH, Bodh area, 50 kilometers from Bisipada village. 2 liquor making castes came to Bisipada, settled down there. They started selling liquor. One was touchable status, the other one was untouchable. For touchable status caste, liquor making caste, he says Bodh distillers. For the untouchable caste, he says Bodh outcast. Alright, Bodh distillers, Bodh outcast. At that time, the Bisipada was dominated by Kshatriyas, okay, warrior caste, and they had 95% of the land in Bisipada, the warrior caste. When these people came and settled down there and started selling liquor is a popular business then and now, always. Lot of excise these days. Okay, so liquor, then they earned a lot of money. They purchased land from the warrior caste. The warrior caste was left with only 28% of the land. Then after that, both the castes claimed warrior caste status. The both distillers, that is the touchable status caste, claim was accepted because they were touchables. The both outcasts, the untouchable castes, liquor betting, was rejected because they were untouchables. What is this? What do you mean by accepted? Accepted means marital alliance. This is the most important test. Drinking, dining is no test. Drinking, dining, or sharing of hookah or bidi or cigarette is no test, but marriage alliance is important. So, getting rejected or frustrated, the both outcasts left the village. So this is another instance. There are several instances of successes. Okay. Now, critical analysis. Critical analysis says, number 1, Sanskritization does not show total social change in India. Social change in India has many factors. 1. Number 2, Sanskritization has happened only in 1960s and 1970s. When Mandal Commission came into being, many people, though they tried to change their surnames to higher caste surnames, they again changed into the OBC surnames. All right. For example, that fellow American anthropologist Bradley Hurtel, he studied UP Bihar border area, Uttar Pradesh Bihar border area around Balia. He said that those Srinivas had said that Sanskritization is a longitudinal process, lengthy process. Lengthy process is another feature of Sanskritization. But in Balia area, people only change their surname and overnight they become turned into high caste. Even there are marriage alliances with high caste people. After knowing about the point that they are from low caste, divorces has occurred, divorces has taken place, and even violence has taken place. Those who have changed their surnames like this. Then Yogen Singh, in his famous book Modernization of Indian Tradition, he has said that Sanskritization is not only process, Islamization is very important in India. Urbanization is very important in India. Industrialization is very important in India. Modernization is also very important in India. However, and another point has come, de-Sanskritization. The lower caste, the higher castes have adapted to lower caste norms. For example, Haryana and Punjab, they have shown, S.K. Srivastav and many people have shown, and how people have shared hookah and liquor with lower caste. However, whatever, Sanskritization still is relevant in the sense they are not changing caste, but they are changing ideas, customs, rituals, habitual patterns and everything. Next we do Westernization and other things of Srinivas. Thank you very much.